Hey everyone, Theo here with a quick commentary video of one of my weekly keys, a plus 17 Brackenhide Hollow. Definitely not one of the hardest keys that you'll do this week by any means, but certainly one of my favorite dungeons to heal so far in Season 2, especially on Fortified weeks. Our first pull of the dungeon was pretty big. Most groups will usually pull these first three packs together, however our tank decided to add in this extra patrol as well. Our group was definitely a little overgeared for this key level, so it wasn't too much of a problem. However, I wasn't really expecting that extra pack, so I definitely panicked a little here at the beginning. I popped both my Convoke and my Flourish, thinking that the damage would be a little bit higher. This definitely could have bitten me in the butt as we started to stack up a few stacks of Bolstering, but between 3 Druids with Ursul's Vortex, the tank is able to kite a little bit when needed towards the end, and we were able to handle it without a problem.
Enrage. 3, 2, 1. Break down.
Who's stealing our meat?
The second pull was pretty straightforward. We did double up again with 2 packs. As a druid on these first sets of trash packs, your biggest job is to be ready to soothe these war scorchers. The cast time on their Enrage Ragestorm is pretty long, so you should be able to dispel it almost immediately. But again, with 3 druids in this group, a lot of the times I didn't even need to worry about it, though if you are the only druid or you are the only Enrage dispel, you will want to pay a little extra attention to that cast.
Run.
I'll pass your story along.
Another pain point in this trash is definitely the claw fighters fixating on you. As a druid, you have plenty of things to help you deal with this between Typhoon, Ursul's Vortex, and Incapacitating Roar. On this pull, I do misplay it for sure a little bit. As I was looking to move out of the Entangling, I ended up running straight into a fighter that was fixated on me. Definitely could have killed me on a higher keystone level, but I was able to sprint away and recover relatively easily. I could have definitely handled this situation a little better by shape-shifting immediately to break the Entangled and then using one of those cooldowns to keep the fighter at bay.
Keep the balance.
Meat thieves! Kill them, ruin them, destroy them!
The rest of the trash until the first boss is pretty much the same as the mobs you just killed. Keep an eye out for the rage storms to dispel and fixates to stay away from, though these pulls aren't nearly as dangerous as the first few, so if you've made it this far, you do have a little bit of a breather. One thing to keep in mind is to manage your cooldowns here. You want to make sure that you have them available for the start of the first boss, so especially as you get to the last pack, do your best to save all your cooldowns and avoid any unnecessary damage.
Careful out there.
Here, come at us, meat thieves! We rid you apart! What you waiting for? Bring on the meat thieves!
Enrage. Run.
Now, Hatclaw's Warband is probably one of my favorite bosses to heal this season. There's really only one major window of burst healing that needs to be done at the start. You want to make sure to pre-hot as much as you can to get ready, and then right after the fight starts, Gashtooth will cast Gash Frenzy. You want to make sure you immediately top off your party. On Fortified at this level, all I needed to do was cast Barkskin on myself and then cast Convoke. On higher difficulty or on Tyrannical, you will definitely want to add in more, probably a Flourish for the first Frenzy and a Tranquility on the later Frenzies. After you survive the Frenzy, the rest of the fight is pretty straightforward. You want to avoid Hatclaw's Blade Storm and dispel the tank as soon as he gets disoriented. Something went wrong with our group with the tank soaking the charge, so I ended up needing to use my Battle Res on the Warrior. But other than that, this is a pretty straightforward fight after you survive that first Frenzy. The trash after the first boss is much easier than the first sets of trash. Since we didn't lust the first boss for some reason, we pulled pretty big and popped Bloodlust here. While this trash can be a little dangerous, most of the damage is completely avoidable. The only real danger comes from the Treants with their Necrotic Breath. While this should be interrupted, it can be deadly if it gets off. Especially in a pug group, it's better to just try to avoid it rather than expect that it's going to be interrupted. Since this trash is a lot easier, you will see that I start spending a lot more time in Moonkin form to do some more DPS. This includes even using my Convoke as a DPS cooldown while in Moonkin form. The only other damage you really need to be aware of is the rot damage coming out from diseases. This is a little annoying to deal with since it stacks up and we are unable to dispel it as a druid. However, since the rest of the trash is pretty easy, as long as no one else is taking unnecessary damage, it's nothing that you can't manage with just your normal healing rotation.
Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself.
second boss, Treemouth, is a lot less healing intensive than the first boss, especially on Fortified weeks. Just make sure that you are not in danger of being hit by the frontal aimed at the tank. You can also help out a little bit with the ads that spawn by using your incapacitating roar to interrupt them all. I do this later on in the fight, but it was probably not needed at this level, and I even take a bit of unnecessary damage by doing it. The only thing that you will want to make sure to do besides that is to save your Iron Bark for whichever DPS is going to be sucked in by Treemouth the second time that he does it. However, we end up killing him before he casts it a second time, so it's not something I end up needing to use on this fight. Stink Breath can be a bit of a pain on Fortified. While you should do what you can to either outrange or dodge his frontal, it's not the most obvious ability to dodge and can be a bit of a challenge. However, if he's pulled alone like we did here, then you shouldn't have much trouble dealing with the damage, even if you do get disoriented by the frontal.
Great burn.
Now here you get to see an example of what you don't want to do in your weekly keys. While most of this trash can be skipped pretty easily, somehow we ended up pulling essentially everything that we were trying to skip. I'm not sure exactly who did it, but I did get into combat pretty much as soon as I started pre-harding the party. I didn't actually even realize this until we had already started pulling way too much. At first we are able to kind of stabilize and handle the pull, especially after popping Convoke and Flourish, and then later following that up with Tranquility. We are able to stabilize. However, as the bolstering started stacking up, I just didn't have enough, and we ended up wiping. Luckily, we didn't lose too much time, and we are able to just get right back and do the skip correctly the second time. On Fortified, Gut Shot is pretty straightforward. His ads die almost immediately, so as long as you dodge the traps, there really isn't too much going on in this fight. Just position yourself to make sure there's a trap between you and any ads that spawn, and you can basically just DPS the boss for the majority of the fight.
Enrage. Step.
Rip them apart, beast! Kill the hunt leader! Clever meat! Come to me, clever meat! I'll wither your strength myself!
I must get closer.
The remaining trash is pretty straightforward, but can very easily get out of control. You will see a return of the War Scourges, so you will want to keep an eye out for dispelling that Enrage. The only new mechanic you're going to see is Withering Contagion. Since we don't have a disease dispel, make sure that you stay spread out, as this can get out of control very quickly if it spreads at all, especially on Fortified. Other than that, just be careful where you step to make sure you aren't pulling any extra packs, and you should be all set.
Watch your step. Enrage. Watch your step. Watch your step.
Everything rots away in the end. I control decay. I claim everything. I will wither this world and eat its bones.
Enrage.
3, 2, 1.
Watch your step.
Now, the final boss, Wrath Eye, is either the easiest or the hardest boss to heal in this dungeon. If you have a tank that can do the dance correctly and have DPS that can kill the totem immediately, there isn't too much damage coming in that you need to worry about. However, if your group starts to build up stacks, then Decaying Strength can get very deadly very fast. Normally you will want to save your cooldowns for Decaying Strength. However, on Fortified weeks and with such a strong group, I was being very liberal with my Convoke usage and using it to help boost my DPS instead.
Watch your step. Watch your step.
And that's pretty much it for Brackenhide Hollow on Fortified Weeks. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe. Leave a comment if there's any type of casual healing content you would like to see. And thanks for watching.
Withered